Hello, everyone. It is great to be here with you all. My name is Fabiana Cerato. I am representing an institution called Reaprendencia. We have a project called Consciousness in Evolution, and I was invited today to talk about beauty, elegance, romance, love, and art. So many important concepts. I have with me backstage Anna. Instructor Anna will also help me with the questions. So whenever you guys feel free, whenever you want to write, just write and she will bring the questions to me. Now I'm gonna present myself. So as I mentioned, I am Fabiana Cerato. I am an architect. I am an entrepreneur, an interpreter. I am specialized in positive psychology, didactics, and methodologies, project planning and buildings. I have been a self-knowledge researcher in conscienciology and instructor since 1997. I am a mother of two lovely ladies, and I am a volunteer of Reaprendencia and Isaac as well, two institutions that study the consciousness, that studies the person, the individual, and we are going to talk soon about it. I hope you all have a great time and you take the best out of this streaming today. So we are going to start to share the slides now. And I would like to start to address that we are going to talk about 5 important concepts. As we mentioned, this is a part of a project Consciousness in Evolution, and our idea here as an institution is spread all the ideas around the planet. That's why we are presenting this streaming in English as well, because it's a language that most of people can understand. So, as I mentioned, I am representing Reaprendencia. I was invited from Reaprendencia to present this streaming. And what is Reaprendencia? For you that are arriving for the first time, Reaprendencia is a non-profit organization specialized in conscienciology and the study of the consciousness, and offers classes, cultural and scientific events on a few topics, re-education, teachers, formation, personal growth and development, paranormal phenomena, energetic balance and techniques, and tarot pedagogy. And one of the principles that we use and that I would like to present, especially in this streaming today, is the principle of disbelief. What is the meaning of this principle? So don't believe in anything, not even in what you hear in this webinar. Experiment, have your own experiences. Because today we are going to address concepts that are not matter, concepts that are totally involved in our reality. And it will be interesting, that's why I mentioned you feel free to propose any questions for us to debate. And it will be interesting to really reflect about it. It's not about believing on what I am going to say. I am going to talk based on my own experience, as most of the instructors, they do. That's why we present topics, because those topics are topics that in one way or another, they called our attention. So today we're going to address beauty, elegance, romance, love, and art. And my main target is to deconstruct myths, beliefs, and dystopias related with those concepts. And also, towards the end, we are going to address the evolutionary understanding about those concepts. That's why I placed here the picture about life will not wait. The concepts we are going to talk, they are immersed in our reality. Every day we deal with one of those 5 concepts in one way or another, either from the pragmatical point of view or theoretical, or it is in a movie, or it is in our behavior day by day. In some way, we establish some level of connections. So in order to talk about those concepts, the first thing I will do, no, it's not a webinar about each concept because in 1 hour we will not have time enough. What I will do is to define each one, to present the difference between them. And then we are going to address, based on some case studies, a few dystopias, a few pathologies, and a few intrusions that we might have or we might be not conscious, not aware of when we deal with those concepts in our day-by-day life. So then, why I select those 5 concepts? First of all, I am an architect. I love dealing with abstracts, connections. It's what we do as a professional. No, you create, you analyze, you think, and then you materialize. And those 5 concepts, they are not matter. When I have a matter, like this pen, for example, no, I am touching. No, I can see the color, and for me, this pen is defined by itself. Because I can touch that, I can see that, I can perceive that, and for me, it's a reality. Okay, it is a reality. Here I have another reality. On scale, I use this scale to measure, to design, to place in papers, no, houses designs or buildings designs. This is also for me a reality because I can touch, I can see, and I can perceive. Whenever I deal with concepts and connections that are abstract, I don't have that. I have them in my mind. I have the perception, I have the understanding in my mind. And if I am not lucid about the way I feel, the way I connect or interconnect myself with those ideas, I risk being intoxicated, or I risk being not lucid about that. And we have emotions, we have feelings, we are human beings. We make mistakes and we make great things as well. So being lucid about any concept and every concept that we are presenting today will help me to build better connection with each of the concepts. So let's go for it. Just a last comment before we start the definition of each concept is, if something is not a reality for me, so if I don't touch, no, if something is abstract, I risk creating general perception. So I risk becoming too superficial because I cannot see. I just perceive a few ideas. So also my idea with this streaming is call and highlight that situation as well. So popping out from the superficial and try to immerse better and better on our own reality. So let's go. Here is the first concept we are going to present, beauty. So what is beauty? Oh, beauty is the property, is the quality, is the virtue of which is presented as beautiful, as pleasant. It could be connected with a being, or it could be connected with a thing capable of responding to certain demands of balance and harmony. And in some way that triggers my attention and will make myself to have that sensation, that well-being sensation, and in some way that beauty, or what I think it's beauty, it's beautiful, will call my attention. And I will tend to look for it. I will tend to appropriate that and interconnect myself with that sensation or with that situation. Beauty is also related with pleasure, with aesthetic emotion, with pleasant fascination, wonder, seduction as well. I can also perceive beauty through a gustatory or a visual or auditory, olfactory sensations, or a design, fashion show, the beauty. We have the beauty from the nature, which is right here in my right side. I have this house that is emerged into the nature. For me, this might mean that is a beautiful house because it's surrounded by nature. And I have this picture on top of it, which is with a color combination. And this color combination, in some way, it's beautiful for me, for most of us, or for a few. We will understand the difference between one thing and another. So beautiful, or the beauty, called my attention. I gave, no, before we talked about the next topic, I gave many tertulias about the topics we are going to debate today. For people who are new, tertulias are 2 hours debate. So it's like a webinar, no, organized in two hours and a half, in which we debate every characteristic, things we research, and things we organize. And one of the tertulias I would like to highlight that is related with that subject is aesthetic apprehension, which you can find here in this link down below on YouTube link, and you can attend this tertulia. It's in Portuguese, but you can place English subtitles. And then you will, with this tertulia, you will immerse in this perception of beauty, elegance as well, which is the next topic we are going to address. For the next topic, I also have a presentation, I also have a tertulia I gave, which is Elegance, no, tertulia number 4800, in which we address what is the meaning of elegance. So the elegance is the manifestation centered on efficiency parameters of harmony, beauty, you see beauty there again, sophistication, aesthetic, to the point of awakening feelings. This is important. When you see somebody or something that is elegant in some way, this calls your attention, triggers your attention, and wakes that feeling of well-being, pleasantness, admiration. And we can use this elegance for designs, no, houses, buildings, outfits. But the best here, and we address in that lecture down there, is the way we behave. The way I interconnect myself with elegance in a way that I change my behavior. Not because I want to show that I am an elegant person, but because I had researched myself. We are going to address that towards the end more about it. No? So we have also the stylish numbers, which I can bring here, the golden number. No? It is very famous. We have this number in nature and also in a few faces. The golden number is also called Fibonacci number. It was discovered by Leonardo Fibonacci. And he realized that there is a cause connection between the numbers. No? For example, if you add 1 plus 1, you have 2. And if you add 2 plus 1, you have 3. 3 plus 2, which is the last one, you have 5. 5 plus 3, which is the last one, you have 8, and so on and so forth, until you have this golden sequence. Those numbers, if you divide one by another, you have 1.6, actually 1.69, and it's a number that people call an elegant number. No? I also talked about this in that presentation, and we will address more a little bit further towards the end. So now we have romance. No? Romance is also something interesting to be addressed. No? What is the meaning of romance? So we talk about beauty, we talk about elegance, and now we are addressing romance. Romance is the expression of affectionate love with someone. Deep, strong, emotional desire to connect with another person from the intimately point of view or romantically point of view. Whenever we talked about romance, we also can address feelings like physical contact, desire of physical contact or not, or just a romantic desire, what we call platonic desire, association with passion, passionate connections, desire to be with other person, union, and it's also connected with love. You see that the concepts, they are abstract and they are all interconnected, but they are not the same. They are interrelated, they converse between themselves, but they are different. And I also have an example for you to go profound in this perception, which is the tertulia, the webinar about romanticism that I presented with, you can attend with English subtitles, and is in this link below. Then we have love. No? What love is? I guess love is one of the 5 concepts that triggers more the attention of people. No? Love is this feeling that predisposes someone to wish someone well. It's the best desire, and it's the feeling of dedication to a human being, no? Or to one idea, or to something. It's a devotion. And this devotion is proposed, and it's been offered by people based on bonds, based on connections, based on tenderness, based on physical attraction. And therefore we use beauty, romance, and elegance together. Also, we have love between friends, we have friendships, we have tenderness, attachments to someone, some things, no, that provide us pleasure, enthusiasm, passion, no. And I also have here 2 tertulias to address, in which you can attend to, in which we talk more about love. No, the first one is the homeostatic behavior self-articulation. It is totally connected with what we are going to talk a little bit more further. And the other one is the pathological love. Sometimes we can understand things by what the things are not. So that's why I decided to explore this area of pathological love. So what is a pathological love? No? How a pathological love is manifested and how it's different from the love itself, from what I think it's love. Here is why we talked about the abstract concepts, no? Because sometimes I am not lucid enough to perceive that what I am experiencing on my day by day, it is not love. I think it is love, but it could not be. No, we have many. Unfortunately, I want to bring one statistic here. Just in Brazil, I'm not talking around the planet, no, just in Brazil, in every 10 family, 3, unfortunately, they experience domestic violence. And why this happens? This is a confusion. People think they are sometimes experiencing love, and on the other hand, they are experiencing violence. So we mix concepts, we mix love with violence. For me, that was love. It was not. No, so that's why I brought that tertulia, and I strongly suggest you attend to understand more what is the meaning of pathological love. No, love it's not pathological love. No, pathological love it's completely far beyond. It's what we call dependence. You cannot live without that person, and this is not love, right? So then we are going to move to the last concept, which is art, to wrap it up. Art is the product of work, objects that aim expressing many ideas. So since men and women were born, they had the need to express how then they feel. And art is fantastic to that. Here you have arts on caves. You have one of the most famous picture, no, Mona Lisa from Leonardo da Vinci. So, but on the other hand, art is the need of expression, is the expression of the human subjective. We can express what we are feeling either talking, using words, crying, fighting, or using art, writing books. No, of course, when you write a book, you need an art to organize your book. So art is necessary in our reality. It is very important. And we want to call the attention of what is not art, what we are addressing here is the excess behavior. But we need art. No, it's a manual and a practical skill, whether we are conscious or not, whether it's control, whether it's rational or uncontrolled, to show feelings, desires, and passions. No? In that, I address a lot, I talked a lot about art in most of my tertulias, in most of my verbetes. I wrote 16 already, and most of them we talked a lot about art. But I want to highlight this tertulia called Dance, because dance is also an art manifestation, and it's a beautiful manifestation. It's very elegant, has dynamic, has movement, and this is also great. So we debate that as well. And then it has a strong connection with art. So here are the concepts. Here we present the concepts. Now we are going to understand what they are not. As we mentioned in the beginning, no, we are dealing with abstract concepts, connections and concepts, and sometimes it's easier to understand what is not beauty, elegance, romance, and love and art by analyzing the dystopias, by analyzing the disease and the myths and pathologies. And this is what we want to do. We are going to study some case in which people exaggerate. And we use that an example of not to. No? So we can call the attention here for, my friend
Before
Anna
you
is
go
here.
further, before you
Okay.
go further, I have a few
Hello.
questions. My name is
Okay.
Anna. I am going to address Professor Fabiana about a few questions that are related to this content. So the first one would be like, what is the relationship between art and love?
Yes. I placed those five, it's very good question, thank you, Anna. I placed those five concepts together because sometimes they are one interconnected with another. Many times when people they express love, they use art. For example, if you are happy with your partner, you arrive at home and you go to a place that sells flower. So then you buy a flower and you give a flower to that person. You are expressing your love, your feeling, using art. Or you can do a design. You love someone, and let's say you know how to design. I also have a class in which I teach how to design in a very easy way. So we can talk later if you are interested. But let's suppose you want to design your partner. So of course, when I say design, it's a sketching. No, you can use art to design your love for your partner, and then you give a piece of paper, or a picture, or even a portrait. Sometimes in Christmas, when we exchange gifts, it is normal to receive portrait with family's portrait. Why that? To highlight and to represent the love among them, or the connections that we have. So all these concepts that we are presenting here, they are so important for us as human beings. That's why we have a strong connection between not only love, beauty, elegance, and art. We use that and we express using art. Of course, you can express writing an article, writing a book, but you will need some form of art because you need to organize your ideas, no? So then this is the main connection. We are going to talk about evolutionary connections soon. Okay, so now we are going to go back to dystopias and pathologies. Here are the three interesting case studies. We have Michael Jackson, we have Celso Borges, and we have Rodrigo Alves. Michael Jackson is one of the most famous. For me, it's one of the best performers in the planet. He was a great singer, a great composer. He did a lot. He helped many people using his music, and he connect many people with his music. No, nevertheless, he had this issue with elegance and beauty. Michael Jackson, he died in 2009, and he used to perform between 10 to 12 plastic surgeries per year. So you can guess that in 10 years, he probably performed almost 100 plastic procedures, no surgical procedures. This is a lot. And this brings us the question that we are going to talk soon. Now, do we need that much of plastic surgery? What for? So we are beautiful as human beings. Perhaps he needed to discover more himself, right? So let's jump into the two other case studies. Now we have Celso Borges. He is a young guy that unfortunately he died. He's from Uberlândia, Minas Gerais, in Brazil. And he was born in 94 and he died in 2015, so 8 years ago, due to complications. And he aimed to be similar, no? He did 6 plastic surgeries to look like the doll Ken. Ken is the Barbie's boyfriend, no? They are dolls. So it is interesting. Different than Michael Jackson, but he had that obsession. Why? This is the question that states, no? Unfortunately, he died due to a few complications that he had after one of the surgeries, together with other disease that he had as well. And then we had Rodrigo Alves. Rodrigo Alves is also an interesting case, no? He is also a Brazilian, and since he was turning 30, he wanted to look like another situation, another person that wanted to look like Ken, no? So the doll. Again, we have another Ken case. And therefore, he did 70 surgeries. And now he's preparing himself for another 3. After a few years doing so many plastic surgeries, he was not happy with his face. And he decided to change his gender. And he decided to become Barbie. So he did more surgeries for that. And now he's doing a gender, no, he did already a gender transmutation. I placed those 3 cases here for us to analyze and to question us and to reflect about, you know. As we mentioned, we can use the concepts, we can use the examples to reflect about our day-by-day life. What is important for us? What are our goals in lives? What do we want? Why so many plastic surgeries? And then we have the 4th example here, which is the abuse of rejuvenation products. We have a lady here that is spreading human blood on her face to treat. She thinks that that will keep her young. This is a problem we have with many artists. They have this need of being young. In some way, no, perhaps not, it's not even conscious, we associate beauty with being young. So we think, or perhaps a few people think, that there are no beauty on not being young anymore. So this is something to reflect about it. No? And as a counterpoint, I want to call the attention for a fantastic movie. You know, this film, E.T. the Extraterrestrian. It's a film that was made by Steven Spielberg. It turned 40 years now. It's a very famous and a great movie. And why it's great? Because his soul, no, the E.T. soul, the E.T., what we call intraconscientiality, is beautiful. He is a lovely person. And you see the difference? He didn't need so many plastic surgeries to show who he is. So this is an interesting point between having the need of representing or presenting yourself so beautiful all the time, control all the expectations, and suddenly we have E.T. here, and he is with a different body, not like our body. Nevertheless, he is beautiful. And I even watched again the movie, and it's amazing. It tells the story, you know, of a friendship between a boy called Elliot, which is Henry Thomas, no, and an alien trapped on Earth, on planet Earth. It's very interesting to analyze, no, and this boy and his friends, they go to a journey to help the alien to return home. It is a very famous movie, and it shows us that there are so many beautiful things inside of us waiting to be discovered. We have here another situation related with what we present, another movie suggestion, which is Nappily Ever After, which is a woman after an accident at her hair salon makes her realize that she isn't living her life to the fullness. So she was this movie is interesting because it shows the history of a woman that since she was 5, no, her mother wanted to transform her hair into a different hair, no? So it is like the images we have down there, left and right. So everything that is in our body, we can use or we can deal in one way or another. And she struggled a lot with so many hours in front of the mirror, no, squeezing and touching and changing her hair to become what her mother thought was the most beautiful or elegance or better presentation she would need to have to be coexisting in our life, in our society. So this is also an interesting film to attend. Here in the right, I have the difference in terms of makeup. Now you see a woman, she is the same, right and left here. And here she is with makeup, and in the left, she isn't using a makeup. It's the same woman. And for me, the way I see, both are beautiful. So we don't need this excess of changing eyes, changing lips, changing so many things to become someone so different than we already are. No? Of course, especially women, no, we use some level of lipstick, some elegance, some outfits. It's okay, men as well, but we don't need so long and so many times, um, so long during so many time in front of the mirror, no, spending hours and hours to look like a doll. No, we don't need that. And this is also another thing I want to call the attention. It's what we call a cultural problem or a cultural pathology. In China, no, China is famous for lotus feet. No, it used to be a Chinese tradition in 1900 before Christ, and it started there, and it went until the 20th century. Very no, a few years ago this stopped, and it's crazy because women's feet, they get destroyed because of that. So our feet usually measures between 25 to 30 centimeters, and in these situations they arrive up to 7, 10 centimeters, which is 1/3. So imagine the amount of destruction you do or you have to do with your bones to diminish your feet like that. No, so this is one of the strongest problem that this culture experienced among the time, and women suffer a lot because of that. Here we have a very interesting subject in which I want to highlight, which is love versus dependency. We talked about this before, and I mentioned that I presented a few tertulias, a few debates, no, a few webinars, 2 hours webinars about the subject. One it was pathological love, and then I also talked about domestic violence. So what is love? We defined love a few minutes ago, but it's important to say that love, it's not about being perfect. It is about knowing how to find the path to emotional connection. Love is a secure bond that we trigger, that we build with this special person. And it's an emotional protection. Love is capable to help us to deal with ups and downs in life. So love can create this strong bond, strong connection, strong friendship connection, strong family connection to deal with ups and downs in life. And it's fantastic. When love works, when we are lucid for that feeling and how we are applying that feeling either in our day by day, with our family, with our friends, in our relationships, this changes us a lot. And we end up becoming more empathic, we respect others, we understand others. And as I mentioned before, unfortunately, we mixed too much love with dependence. No, out of 10 families, 3 struggle with domestic violence. So this is the misconception, the misunderstanding about what is love. So as I mentioned before, affection, health love, self-perception, self-affection, and hidden toxicity, they are and they are not connected with love. No, so when you have a healthy affection, you don't hidden your toxicity. No, you don't need that. And here we have a few images related with the dependence and with health love. Hello, Anna.
Yes, I'd like to highlight something. Since you were talking about all these concepts, I believe that all these concepts, they have a big relationship with culture, because culture ends up defining what is going to be beautiful, what is going to be elegant, how romance is going to be expressed. So a lot of it is dependent. It will depend on how we were raised, how we were brought up, in which family we were born. So besides that, I would like to bring a question of one of our friends, Chris Totti. She's she wants to amplify and talk more about domestic violence. So, how would you expand on types of violence, such as emotional violence, intellectual violence, or do you have another number for these? And here I'd like to put one other question inside, like when you talk about pathologies and dependency, I think people end up putting a lot of violence towards themselves when they want to modify so badly how they look like. So
Yes.
this is actually violence, and I really become worried about the doctors and the surgeons that are doing all this violence to these patients, because
Yes.
they come and they want to do absurd things with their faces or their bodies, and they end up dying because of it, like one of the cases you presented. So, another thing is how we deal with this violence, how we
Yes.
are able to cope with all this. So, can you tell us more about it?
Yes. Let's start with domestic violence. Domestic violence is, I've been studying a lot because I struggle with domestic violence during the first 20 years of my life. So I presented three verbetes, which is three tertulias dealing with domestic violence. So there are many different types of domestic violence. It could be hidden, it could be manipulated, it could be a psychological domestic violence, which sometimes it will hurt much more than a physical or even sexual molestation, which is also terrible. No? And we have also moral domestic violence. What is moral domestic violence? Is, for example, when you are among friends with your partner and your partner starts to, he or she, they start to promote themselves and to diminish yourself to, so he or she, they will feel better because of that. No, whenever we have a relationship in which people compare themselves, in which we start in those debates, I even present a scale. No, so I talked about scale before, but we can use that to measure domestic violence, because domestic violence, it doesn't start with immediate physical violence. There are signals that will indicate, like a ceiling that is going to fall. There are indications. No, so domestic violence is the same. Sometimes the partners, they, one of them raise his voice or her voice, and then he repeats that, and then sometimes we have an object being thrown away, and then with the time, no, things, they get insufflated into a much more serious much more severe domestic violence, much more severe. So start smoothly, if we can call throwing an object something smooth, which is not, no. And then the big problem I see when we address that subject is that people don't talk. That's why we have that information that out of 10 families, 3 experience or had experience or are still experiencing domestic violence. People don't talk, and we need to talk. We need to address that. And how we do that? Sometimes the only way, depending on the threshold, depending on the level, the only way is to separate. Mom, pick your kids and go away, or dad, go away, or I don't know. We have to find a way to cope and to separate, because usually it's between mom and dad and kids are watching. If it's between mom, dad, and the kids, it's even more serious, because children, when they get involved, as I was in my past, it's traumatized. It takes years for you to reprocess that and to understand that and to separate people from the act that they did in the past. So why this happened? Just to summarize the answer. Domestic violence happens because we get confused. People think that love is violence. People think that love is pseudo love. And pseudo love is not love. Love is a strong bond connection that both people, they decide to be together. Pseudo love is when you get confused. You receive violence, or you are totally dependent of your partner. You cannot breathe without him or without her, in a way that if she or he goes away for too long, you need to know. You call 10, 20, 30 times to get to know where he is, where she is. So this is a confusion. This is why domestic violence happens. And this is why part of the reason, and thank you for the question, I am presenting this streaming today, to detach wrong ideas from correct ideas, from evolutionary ideas that we are going to address soon. No? The same happens when we do a lot of plastic surgery. Why we need so many plastic surgeries, and why we violate our feet or our body, or we stand hours in front of the mirror to squeeze our hair. There is no need for that. Or hours changing 20 different shirts or 20 different dresses or shoes, pair of shoes, or Louis Vuitton bags, whatever it is. One thing is being elegant. Another thing is the time you place. And this is connected what we are going to talk, which is the evolutionary principles that we are going to address now. And I want to call that to our lucidity. Let's become lucid to all the 5 concepts related with everything we are talking here now. And this is why we could, no, and my proposal is bringing this clarity, no, based on my personal experience, no. And with art, I am not going to address because of the time, but I just want to say that art is great, but if you are famous, if you are a famous painter, or if you are a person who uses art, no matter how much famous you are, you need to address yourself. You need to research yourself. You need to go into an evolutionary understanding. So what is an evolutionary understanding? How we can qualify this connection, how we can qualify our relationship between beauty, elegance, romance, love, and art under the evolutionary perspective. First of all, what we could do is analyzing our connections, doing a self-immersion. So analyzing the associations that we have and the connections that we have and the thinkings, the feelings, and what moves you. We can also analyze what we don't want to think about it. Because if there is something you don't want to think about it, there is a problem there. It's your black box. No, it's your Pandora box. So whenever we talked about evolutionary understanding, it means that we are amplifying those concepts. I brought those concepts from the intraphysical point of view, but together with that point of view, we can amplify that perception. We have the possibility of understanding more, and we have the study of the consciousness, the science called conscientiology, which is the science that study human being under a more amplified perception and a more amplified paradigm to address, to talk, and to understand. Because of this paradigm, we have many possibilities, many books already written about those subjects, and I want to highlight a few. One of the books I want to highlight is the 700 Conscienciological Experiments. There we have this session number, the 17th session, which is about psychosomaticity. And in this session, we have three interesting chapters that we can analyze. We have psychosoma or emotional parabody. We have the experience of your romanticism. We have the diagnosis of a romantic love, which I encourage you to read. And fortunately, we have all those books that I'm going to talk. They are free for download. I am presenting the link at the end of this streaming. So you can just download this book for free and you can read. Other two books you can download for free and they are totally related with what we are addressing here, is the Evolutionary Dual Manual, which is a manual that was written by Instructor Vieira, and he presented a technique, which is the Evolutionary Dual Technique. So this book talks about, this is a manual that presents and talks about this interesting technique and how we can deal with that. I suggest you also read that. And we have the encyclopedia, Conscienciological Encyclopedia, with 6,000 different verbetes, or entries, conscienciological entries. Among those 6,000, you have the 7 entries I already talked, and I am going to place them at the end. You can pick them in PDF for free, and you can translate them into Matcat or into Google Translator or in this intelligent, I think it's a GPA something. It's this smart computer that translates everything into the other languages as well. So nowadays, we have no excuse for you not to read and to research more and to open yourself for the evolutionary understanding of those concepts. Thank you, Melanie. Yes, Chat GPT. Thank you. That's great. Nice to see you here. This Chat GPT will help you to translate the verbetes. So you place in Portuguese and you have them in English, and you can see what I wrote and what I present. And I did not test, but I'm sure you will be able to watch the debate, the tertulias I did about those subjects with English subtitles. So this is like watching a movie with subtitles. You have the original, but you have the subtitles to address those matters. So the evolutionary understanding about this, you start by interconnecting what you perceive about those concepts with your own reality. How you deal, what moves you, what is your connection with affectivity, sexuality, and other concepts related with what we are addressing here. Hello.
Hi there. We have one more question from Melanie. She wants to living or speaking up in such a situation also requires a dramatic existential recycling. Intruders may be involved in that situation, like a group of karmic interpretations and so on. So I think this has to do with the part of love and romance and how we
Mm-hmm.
express that.
Exactly. This is a great question. I'm glad you asked because it's a very important matter. Perhaps we can do a streaming just to address that because it's really long and there are many things to be addressed. But yes, first of all, the first step to change, to recycle, to renovate, and to jump out of domestic violence and to understand what love really is not be under a family that practice violence. We talked either is physical or emotional or manipulative or moral, patrimonial or religion or any other type of violence. So first of all, you popped out because if you are inside that scenario, you will not be able to perceive yourself. There is no way you can perceive yourself under a crazy scenario, under a day by day scenario. So first of all, you jump out. You create a new scenario, you create a better place for you. When you create a better place, you are not experiencing, you are not crying every day, you are not fighting every day with your family, you are not unhappy or even experiencing so many problems every day. Then you can start, then you have mind space, you can open your mind to start the renovation process. How you start that renovation? First suggestion, talk. If we don't talk, we don't change. We have to understand. And just by reflecting, there are traumas, there are situations you cannot change. You need someone to talk, you need someone to address, you need to research, you need to watch videos, you need to read books, you need to research yourself. How is yourself connected with love? What is your relationship between romance, beauty, elegance, how you express yourself, how you behave yourself? You will see that no matter what you kept saying, you kept repeating to yourself, you're not going to repeat the things you experience, but you have so many traumas that you need to recycle that. And when you recycle, and this is connected with your question, you not recycle yourself. When you start changing your entire family, as we call it, group karmic, your family group karmic, your family line will change. Why that? Because when you talk about domestic violence, this comes from family. It's between generations. It's your grandfather or grandmother. It's your grandmother, grandfather, your father, your mother. So it comes between generation. It's a traumas, or there are traumas that they kept repeating themselves. And once you change, once you have the courage to change and to talk about it, the effects that you will have will be intraphysical, and also they will involve the extraphysical companies you have. Because this life, and this is one of the evolutionary purpose that we are talking here, no, evolutionary changes, this life is not only physical. Perhaps we perceive this life as physical because it's easy to see matters, no, it's easy to perceive, it's easy to see things, to touch things, but this life is non-physical. So if this life is physical and multidimensional, you also have other connections as well. So when you change, you will change your group karmic, your family group karmic first, because of the example. You change in a point in which you will not experience that. Then you can come back to visit your family, but you will not fall for that anymore because you change, because you recycle. You need time to breathe, and you can open and create that time by talking and popping out, having the courage to pop out. Oh, but I have kids, I have no problem. Find a way. We can help. There are places to help when you have situations like that. So,
I can also cite an example of books that deal with this, but they talk more in the terms of codependency, which is when the
yes.
person likes to be in that situation because she or he have a distorted concept of love or relationships, and generally the person is insecure, so she's
Of
not
course.
he or she is not capable of changing that concept by herself. And then those books, like with Melanie Betty, she has very interesting books talking about codependency. But our friend Melanie, she also wants to know if there is any resources in conscientiology that would approach trauma and overcoming trauma specifically.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for asking that as well. It's important to say that conscientiology is a science that started many decades ago. We have already many techniques and many people who are willing to address. We have many psychologists that have been studying how to overcome traumas. You know? And of course, to overcome traumas, first you need to perceive yourself. So, first steps will be perceiving yourself. And then we have techniques that we can use, we can appropriate. We can use the labs, we have laboratories, we have techniques. One of the techniques, one of the most important techniques to help us, and it could be done online, is the consensual therapy, which is more or less like a therapy, like a psychology, but they use the word, they deal with energy to create a field, to open more, and so people can bring those subjects. My suggestion is look for consensual therapy technique to apply, get in contact with OIC, which is the International Organization of Consensual Therapy. They have a website, and then they will be able to help to talk. And books to read: first, read what conscientiology talks about romantic love. And we present here, you know, before when I showed here, we have a few examples. Read 700 Experience, read the Evolutionary Dual Manual, read the verbages from the encyclopedia, and we also have other books to be able to offer in, we have also DAC, the Dictionary of Arguments. In there, we also have many information about difficult possibilities, emotionals, and feelings. And we have other books. Nowadays, Conscienciology has been already publishing more than 300 books. So in those, out of those books, many are already translated into English, and others you can use the ChatGPT to translate. So let's use the technique and let's address that. Let's not be quiet. Let's not be in silence. And just to wrap it up, something that Anna asked before, which is the perception of love. If I don't treat that, if I don't treat myself, if I don't apply, concepts, and if I don't analyze myself, I will always fall for this in the same situation. So love for me would be completely different. Would might be related with disease, and this is what we don't want. And beauty, elegance, and romance, the perception of those concepts, they might also be twisted if I don't study myself, right? So that's why it is so important to apply those concepts, to study yourself, to qualify yourself, attend the videos. There are some other books, I don't have it here closer to me, but at the end of the tertulia, I presented many books about domestic violence and about how you can overcome traumas, no? So we can use that together with the parapsychic experience and the perception, the multidimensional perception that the evolutionary paradigm proposed. We have other things to say is that we have many videos, if you are new or not in Conscienciology, even so, especially if you are new, we have many videos under the channel Consciousness in Evolution, which is also our main target, no? Evolve. So under that channel, we have many videos in which we explain better how we deal with energies, how we can overcome difficulties, what is the meaning, and how are the pillars of the conscienciological paradigm applied on every one of us. We are almost at the end. I just want to highlight other two things. So what is the meaning of the evolutionary understanding is the meaning of that is rethinking choices, rethinking life, and rethinking evolution. No, so, and rethinking what is health for us. Because if we think the way we love someone is a healthy love, if we are convinced, we will not change. In order for us to change, you need to open your micro universe. You need to look to yourself and to talk, to chat with yourself. Go in front of the mirror, write books, write notebooks. I have many notebooks that I wrote about myself, about my feelings, about my sensations, about my traumas, to understand. Use techniques. We have many techniques in conscienciology to deal with that. So whenever we do that, we are going to perceive that there are some personal values, some principles that we need to change or we could change. And not only values, no, values, principles, life goals, life projects, self-esteem. And then once we already started to perceive more and more our own reality, how we behave, how we coexist, and how we can coexist in a much better level under those concepts, it will arrive in a moment in which you will start to donate what you are, what you already discovered about your life, about your concepts, about your perceptions, about your values. And then this clear thinking comes, this feeling of peace, this feeling of completeness will arrive, and you will see that you are in a much better threshold. But you need, or we could, roll the sleeves, no, and start to work. It is never too late. No matter how old you are, no matter what you do, no matter anything, you can change starting now. So this is the proposal I want to bring with those concepts. And here we have some bibliographical references. I spoke about a few of them. Also, I spoke about the Encyclopedia of Conscienciology. I spoke about the Evolutionary Dual Manual, which it shows this evolutionary dual technique. I spoke about the 700 Conscienciology experiments, in which you have one entire session talking about emotions. So read that again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in order to understand and perceive better. We talked about this Dicionário de Argumentos da Conscienciologia, which is the DAC, the Arguments Dictionary of Conscienciology, with so many interesting things to read related with the concepts we talked. And then we have also here the verbiages I present, the verbiages I use to organize this streaming, which is the aesthetic apprehension, elegance, romanticism. The fourth one is homeostatic behavior self-articulation, is how you behave, how you interconnect yourself with others. We have the pathological love, which is a verbiage I received many questions up to today, because as I mentioned, it's interesting to understand what is not love, to understand love, We have dance, we have domestic violence. I have other two tertulias about the effects of domestic violence and the binomial between domestic violence and emotional manipulation that you can find in that YouTube channel as well. And if you have any questions, yes, you can all the time send me emails. I am available 24/7, and it was great to be here today with all of you. Here are our connections. Reaprendência has a website, a general email, YouTube channels, Facebook, Instagram, and a telephone for you to get in contact. And really thank you very much for this opportunity. It was great to be here. I hope I was able to contribute in some way to open some level of lucidity about those concepts. So it was a pleasure, really a pleasure. Thank you very much to everybody that participated here in this live streaming. And we see you next time. Bye-bye.